It was just recently announced that we're going to see Anthony Joshua back in the ring April 1st at the O2 Arena against Jermaine Franklin. Interesting fight. Now, a lot of people may be looking at this and thinking, who exactly is Jermaine Franklin? Haven't heard of him before. And you wouldn't really be off base to feel that way, right? The guy doesn't have a lot of popularity. His biggest fight to date would have been his second to last one against Dillian White. Came up short. Then he goes in there and gets a win in his last fight. We know about Anthony Joshua. This guy has been at the tippy top of the sport for a super long time, right? Wins the gold medal in the 2012 Olympics. Goes on this heavyweight run. Ends up snatching up, multiple world championships. But then he goes in one day against Andy Ruiz. And let's be honest, he gets smashed, man. For all intents and purposes, he gets smashed against Andy Ruiz, a relative no-namer at the time. Comes in on short notice. And a lot of people kind of tried to write that off. They were like, he was distracted. He was underestimating him. If you remember correctly, the guy that he was supposed to be fighting, he had super bad blood in the build-up to that fight. Neither man was fond of the other one. And then all of a sudden he gets dropped out because of a dirty drug test. Andy Ruiz steps in. It was kind of like this big emotional letdown. It was supposed to be one thing, it was another. It was a no-name guy. And one of the things that I remember about that fight was that when Anthony Joshua came in, he looked, man, he's already got like this bodybuilder, muscular type physique. And I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not exactly a bodybuilder, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this dude is thickly, heavily muscled, and he's in there, and I felt like it was just even over the top for him. And he looked a little bit stiff, looked a little bit rigid in his movements. Andy Ruiz has got fast hands, good ring IQ, knows how to come in and get under shots. He was able to just put it on him. So then we see he comes out, wins the rematch. I wasn't all that impressed with how the way that Anthony Joshua looked in that rematch. Ends up taking a decision. I mean, he did what he needed to do, right? He was probably a little bit hesitant, probably a little bit unsure of things after just having got stopped. But he came in, won with the jab, some footwork, landed shots when he needed to, gets the win, comes out, wins his next fight, and then he drops 2 losses to Alexander Usyk. Gets smashed in the first fight, dude. Gets smashed for all intents and purposes. Hurt late in the fight. Now, I get it. He looked good in some spots. There were some things that he could use from that fight to build on in the second. But, dude, he went out there and got handled by a much smaller man. A lot of people were shocked by the way that went down. Everybody knew that Usyk was skilled and his ring IQ and everything. But I think that, in a way, that became a coming out party for Usyk. And it became a real cold, hard shot dose of reality for Anthony Joshua. And then in the rematch, he goes and he gets a new trainer, right? He hooks up with Robert Garcia. People have known his name for a long time. Former world champion himself. Has trained multiple world champions. Robert Garcia Boxing Academy. Hooks up with him. And I thought he looked a lot better in the rematch. Still came up short, though. A deserving decision loss in the rematch to Usyk again. And Usyk is just that guy, right? He's got that style. He can do it. Joshua looked a lot better, though. But he was super frustrated after the fight. Remember, after the fight, he's in the ring and he's dumping the belts, throwing them and all kinds of stuff. He's talking to Usyk, saying this, that, and the other thing. I can't understand how you beat me, all this stuff. Now we're getting a fight against an unknown guy. Like I said, relatively unknown. Biggest fight was against Dillian White, Jermaine Franklin. And again, Anthony Joshua switching trainers. This time he hooks up with Derek James. The only thing that I can think, especially based off of some things that Robert Garcia has been saying since they split ways in some interviews, is that they were just butting heads, right? It was a mismatch of personalities. Robert Garcia was saying things to the effect that Anthony Joshua was not motivated, not training enough, not working hard enough, not being an inspiration to the younger guys in the gym. And he kind of just needs to get that grit and that grind back and things like that. And I don't know whether that's true or not. Doesn't really matter. What we know is this is going to be the third fight with a third trainer for Anthony Joshua. Now, I'm not really too bothered by that. I'm a big fan of Derek James. He seems to be able to get a lot out of his guys, right? The whole thing is going to be whether or not they're going to be able to click. And one of the things that I really liked was coming up to this, we've seen some press for this fight building already, and Derek James was getting interviewed, guys asking him some questions, and he asked him, Anthony Joshua was known for being an aggressive guy. He kind of went away from that a little bit. He was trying to box. So you're going to try to get him back to that aggressive, dominant type style. And goes, look, the only thing that I'm really working on is making sure that Anthony Joshua is present. that he's completely focused, completely locked in, come fight time, that he's present, he'll be able to go out there and perform. Now, in one way, that's an understatement, a little bit cagey. We know that they're in there actually working on specific techniques. We know that they're building a game plan specific to Jermaine Franklin that they're going to go out there and execute. But it's really telling that that's what he says, because that's so important. We know how talented Anthony Joshua is, tremendously talented. We know the type of things that he can do. If he's locked in, if he's present, if he's 100% in the moment, the man's going to be able to do great things, particularly against a guy who I see as like a top 15 guy. Okay, at his best, when Jermaine Franklin reaches the peak of his career, I think the best that he's going to be able to hope for is gatekeeper. But he's probably going to just be a journeyman. I don't mean to knock the guy, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just calling it like I see it. When I look at the very tippy top of the division, I don't see him being able to get there. He's got flat feet. He's got slow feet. I don't think he uses enough upper body movement. He's not a big guy. He doesn't have great power. Explain to me how he's going to be able to go in there and beat the likes of Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, these Usyk. These guys are at the tippy top of the division. That's 4 right there. We don't even need to go any further than that. How's he going to break into the top 5? So I don't see that happening. If you don't have any of those things going for you, if you don't have great feet, great power, great hand speed, great ring IQ, if you great size, that you know how to manage distance and things like that, I don't understand how you're not going to be able to do it. Far too many talented guys, and I don't think he's going to come out victorious in this fight with Anthony Joshua. Not that I'm revealing some big truth here. We see what the lines are looking like already. Joshua's a huge favorite, and he's a huge favorite for a reason. He's going to go in here against a significantly smaller guy who doesn't have power, who stands in front of people flat-footed. We saw in that fight, he only went 12 rounds one time. And we saw in the fight with Dillian White, the 10th round, 11th round, White was able to start backing him up. White got him against the ropes, hit him with some hard shots. Now look, Jermaine Franklin took those shots. All credit to him. But is he going to be able to take those from Anthony Joshua? A guy who's wants to go in there and be down. Think about why he's fighting this fight. 3rd trainer in 3 fights. He's lost 3 of his last 5. He needs to go out there and get a win, man. He needs to build some confidence. He needs to get things going. He needs to be able to get into a rhythm with this new trainer and start to really execute the things that they're working on in the gym. He needs to kind of rebuild to get back to a point where he can be at the top. Imagine if he were to go out there, continue to fight against the top, rack up some more losses. What's that going to do to his confidence, his fan base? What's that going to do to future marketability? They're doing this correctly. Go out there, O2 Arena. Fans are going to love you. You're going to go out there, look incredibly impressive, get a huge win, kind of get in the groove and build some confidence with the new trainer. That's what this is all about. This is all the stepping stone, all the building point. Get him back into the win column for himself, for everybody else. What are they going to do later in the year with him? What are they going to plan for him early next year? That's really what I'm interested in, because he's still a top guy. He needs to figure a few things out, iron out some wrinkles. But I'm excited for what Anthony Joshua is going to bring. Man, he's going to blow the doors off in this fight. It's going to be my guess. And be interested to see what he says in the post-fight. Be interested to see what Derek James says relative to what they've been working with. I'm sure he's going to come out and look really good and say that he gave a C+ performance relative to the stuff that we've been seeing in the gym. Right? Classic line from fighters. Derek James will say, I'm really happy with him. Great prospect. Can't wait to get back in the gym and do some more work. And, the promoters are going to do what promoters do. So, let me know what you guys think. Are you excited to see this one? Do you think Anthony Joshua is gonna mix well with Derek James? Is the style gonna come out? Is he gonna be able to reclaim, refine some of the tremendous success that he's had in his past? What happens if he gets a fight with Deontay Wilder? What happens if he gets a fight with Tyson Fury? After he's been working with him, how do these things play out? So all be interesting to see. Let me know what you guys think.